Good afternoon and welcome to your favorite program meeting point on the Vision Card. This Friday, the 2nd of March 2018. 2nd of March, which means we are 5 days to the 8th of March, the International Women's Day, a day that we're celebrating women, talking about, what women have been doing in the world and also the challenges that women face because of their gender. So what we're going to talk about today. We'll start by introducing our panelists on the program this day, starting with Amel Tafak. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Lovine.
Yeah, so we within the week of, activities leading up to the celebration of International Women's Day. So what's up? What are you doing?
Merci déjà de me passer la parole. Une fois de plus, je suis Ahmed Safak de la Ligue internationale des femmes pour la paix et la liberté. Et je vais dire la Ligue internationale des femmes pour la paix et la liberté est une organisation dont la vision est de construire un monde en paix avec les femmes comme actrices principales. Ça veut dire que nous sommes interpellés par la Journée internationale des femmes pour la paix, par la célébration
Journée internationale de la femme.
Et au regard du thème qui a été choisi, vraiment, nous à WIS, nous nous sentons comme un poisson dans l'eau parce que ça rentre en droite ligne de toutes les activités que nous menons depuis.
Okay.
Et pendant toute l'émission, j'aurai le temps de vous en dire plus.
Surely. Okay. But it's important to know that this day we're talking about, ending violence against women, progress made so far, because it's always been the cry. The way from Amel, I'll introduce Brenda Lucan. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Madam.
Cameroon Youth and Students Forum for Peace is where you come from, right?
Yes, Madam.
So, what have people done this week when it comes to, celebration of the International Women's Day?
Okay, so far we are hoping, as usual, to join the UN Women to say no to violence against women, and we are also hoping to work towards the publication of our online magazine, the voice of our online newsletter, the Voice of Peace newsletter. So with that, we are going to do a lot to talk about the 8th of March.
Okay, I want to say here that you're going to tell us much about when it comes to women, violence, and the gun. So you're going to develop that to us here, the use of gun as an object of violence against women, especially in conflict area. Away from Brenda Mouffet, from Brenda Lucan, we'll get to Maxine Mouffet. You're welcome to the program, Maxine.
Thank you so much, Loveline. I appreciate this opportunity to be here. I would start by saying that I am a business owner of Bridge Africa Ventures, and I work in the communication space. And I think leading up to Women's Day, I think I'm doing like everyone else and trying to decide if I would like the pink print or the orange print. And I have decided to go with pink. And outside of that, on a daily basis, I am working towards independence, working towards financial independence for myself, doing the best I can to support other women in my community, and also speaking out against violence against women, which I think at the root is about financial independence and respect and value of the role that women have to play in society.
Okay, thank you so much. Away from Maxine Mouffet, we now welcome Ole Kok on board. Marolan, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Madam Lokin. It's my pleasure to be on air on Vision Card as we are looking forward to celebrate the International Women's Day, which is on the 8th of March, with a lot of expectations on the rights of women, giving women empowerment for them to enter into politics and help their men. They say what the woman can do, what a man can do, everyone can do better. And we are hoping that women should copy a good example as our mothers and help our world to grow better.
Okay, so the theme for this day is ending violence against women, press for progress. Yeah. So ever since we started celebrating the International Women's Day, it's not only about celebration, of course. We know very well that it is about trying to create some awareness in our communities, in the society, the world at large, on the impact on violence on women. As a man, Has it ever occurred to you or to think that ever since we started a campaign against violence to women, have there been an improvement? And as a man, did you ever feel like it is trying to get a place because it's all about power?
Yes, we have had a lot of progress in the implementation of to reduce violence against women, but it is still little because women have a majority in our society, but they always stay behind because of some kind of things. We are working hard to make sure it stops because, you know, they are the ones that give birth to us, and we need to give them a lot of respect. So we are trying to improve on that so that we can have a better world where women are less treated harshly.
Okay, so have you ever had a case of any violence on women?
I in particular have never had, because I have a lot of respect for women, because for a man to succeed,
you could just observe. You could have come across a case. You could have come across a case, you know. You know,
in my capacity as a humanitarian, I promote a lot of women activity. I promote gender equality because, you know, I want women to have a bigger hand in our decision making. I'm so happy now because we have women in the hierarchy in Cameroon today. I'm so happy. At the judiciary, at the other benches, we have women who are SDOs. I'm really happy. But I hope the government should do more. They should implement women into the system.
Thank you. Before we move to a way forward, can you just tell us a little bit? How does it go, violence against women in the United States? How is it experienced?
Well, I think violence against women is not a mono type of situation that you can say is only applicable to one continent. It happens in America the same way that it happens here in Cameroon. I believe the statistics are every minute there are at least 20 women who are battered in the United States. So we really do have an issue with violence against women. I mean, I guess it's just a power thing, and I also think that we still live in a...
I don't think that it should be the same, because we're talking here about two cultures.
We're talking about two cultures, but what I'm saying is that violence against women in America is extremely prevalent, especially in a country where you have access to a lot of guns and rifles. We have a lot of mass shootings, and we still have issues with power dynamics. So as I said before, every single minute there are at least 20 women who are being battered in the United States of America. And let's also remember, it wasn't until 1920 that women in America had the right to even vote. So I think that the suffrage movement and the movement for women's rights in America and in Africa continues on, because I think we live in a society that many times doesn't give financial value to the things that women provide to a family, meaning that I have my children, I provide food, I provide love, I provide support, but what is the financial payment for that at the end of the month? You see, so I think...
It's not work. Like I said, work is that which you earn a wage.
Exactly, but that work that a woman does is something very serious and is no joke. Seriously, if anybody's tried to do anything in the kitchen, cook jollof rice, you know, take care of a baby, it's a lot.
Do those domestic chores and so on.
Exactly, and we are many times not paid for those type of things, and that's one of the biggest issues that we face in our society, especially now that women have to also work. So now you have to work, and you also need to work in the house, and you're really working 200 times more than your average man, and you're not being respected. And many times you're the first one to lose your job, or you can't really compete many times in the workplace. I know a lot of people talk about women's equality and why women are paid less, and I think that it's not just that men don't want to pay women as much. I think it's a situation of time. I think when women get into their later 20s to 30s, I think a lot of women purposely step back so they can take care of their families, because they understand that they're a limited commodity. They just can't be everywhere. You see, and that's where you have those issues in the society that still puts more value on finances than the non-financial commodities that can be exchanged for money, like food, support, compassion, those things that women give, you know, naturally.
Thank you. Let me get from Brenda. Tell us a little bit. When we talk about violence against women, let's use the gun as an object of violence against women, especially during a conflict area.
Okay, what I will simply say is the issue of violence against women with the use of gun. I think most of the time, instead the gun is used on the women, and just few cases where they come across where a woman uses a gun. In the sense that in a conflict
Yeah,
situation...
I want to know how a gun is an object of violence against women.
Okay, a gun is an object of violence against women in the sense that you realize that in a conflict zone, be it's either coming from the state or it's coming from individuals, they will always use gun to suppress women. In the case of wanting to rape them, that's already violence. In the case where they are submitted to do what they don't want to do, that is against their wish, that's already perpetrating violence on women. So in that case, I would say that gun is used in terms of making the woman to feel suppressed and falling for what you want, not under her own wish, but because she is at gunpoint.
Okay, so during this season, why, let me know, is CAM useful doing something, to sensitize the population, the public, about this issue of violence against women?
Exactly. The Cameroon's Youth and Students Forum for Peace, CAMIOSFOP, they have been doing a lot as far as the use of gun is concerned. They have worked with Control Arms, they have worked with the Arms Trade Treaty. Right now, they are still working on that. And the aim is just simply to ensure that the use of arms is proper and it is not used in a way that will violate the rights, not only of women, but the human rights. So what they have done so far is they had a caravan that took place in the north, and it was aimed at that's mobilizing people on what Boko Haram is all about. It was also aimed at mobilizing people on how they can come together and fight this terrorist group. So far too, they also had a caravan in Tiko where they had to mobilize bike men. Everyone was included, t-shirts were printed, and the aim was just to tell people on how they can use arms, which led to Cameroon, even Cameroon had to ban the use of arms at one point. That's the use of toy guns, firecrackers, light weapons. That's the use of light weapons, or people owning weapons without
unauthorized.
The knowledge of, unauthorized.
Okay, thank you so much. Amel, what is the international women? Okay, so what are you doing during this period?
Okay, ce que je vais
before we get to that, do you think that violence against women is decreasing? Is it reducing?
Je ne peux pas le dire parce que en 2016, nous avons commis une étude sur le degré de connaissance de la résolution 1325, qui est notre cheval de bataille, et l'impact des conflits armés sur les femmes et les filles.
Speak louder.
Oui,
and look
et
at the
également
camera.
sur l'impact des conflits armés sur les femmes et les filles. Les résultats de notre étude nous ont fait quelque peu froid dans le dos parce que il en est ressorti que 59% des femmes continuent d'être victimes de violences. Et quand nous continuons désagrégeons davantage ces données, ça veut dire quand nous rentrons dans ces 59%, nous nous rendons compte que 70% dans ces 59% de violences sont commises dans un milieu familial et conjugal. Or, nous savons que dans les familles, ce ne sont pas les hommes qui sont victimes de violences, ce sont les femmes. Donc, au regard de ces statistiques, moi je vais dire qu'il y a quand même encore beaucoup de choses à faire par rapport aux violences faites à l'endroit des femmes.
Can you just give us maybe an example of violence?
Oui, les violences qui ont été identifiées, c'est par exemple la bastonnade. Ça, c'est
which is physical violence.
Oui, les violences physiques, oui. On a les violences psychologiques.
Yeah.
Oui, parce que beaucoup de femmes en souffrent. Et malheureusement, on n'a pas les centres d'écoute ne sont pas encore vulgarisés dans notre pays. C'est pour cela que vous allez voir, beaucoup de femmes sont introverties. Et c'est justement l'une des recommandations de notre étude, que des centres d'écoute soient développés et à proximité des populations afin que les femmes puissent s'exprimer, dire ce dont elles souffrent. Il y a ces violences-là. Il y a également il y a des femmes qui nous ont dit lors de nos études qui ne travaillent pas. Ça, la violence financière, ça c'est l'une des pires violences parce qu'une femme qui n'est pas autonome financièrement, on sait là où ça conduit. Donc voilà un peu quelques types de violences qui ont été identifiées. Et oui, vraiment, nous travaillons là-dessus. Et je vais dire, nous allons dire merci parce que notre objectif, c'était que le plan d'action national de la résolution 1325 soit adopté par l'État du Cameroun. Et le 17 novembre 2017, ça a été adopté et rendu public. Et le plan d'action, c'est une feuille de route qui décline toutes les activités à être mises en œuvre afin que la femme soit vraiment intégrée dans tous les processus de la vie sociale, que ce soit sur le plan politique, le plan économique, comme ma voisine l'a dit. Il y a une part qui est réservée à l'autonomisation des femmes. Ça se fait avec ONU Femmes et le MINPROF qui est le ministère de tutelle. Il y a l'aspect de la prise en charge des victimes des VBG. Là, c'est également intégré dans le plan d'action de la 1325. Il y a la prévention des conflits. Il y a la prévention des conflits parce que tout part de la famille. Et il y a surtout la participation des femmes à tous les niveaux de prise de décision.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, let me just go to your neighbor, Maxime. We're talking about psychological violence. How much of it is experienced in the United States or have to come to Africa? Let's take the two continents.
Well, again, I just have to stress the situation that I think that regardless of the fact of if you're in Africa or if you are in America, I think women still face discrimination all over the world, and that we have challenges. I think the psychological oppression that women face many times are the price that women pay to check the box of I have a man, or I am married, or I have a significant other, because many times our worth as women is so tied to whether or not you have a man. And I think that preoccupation of society and that weight that it puts on women causes many women to put themselves in situations that are highly compromised. Situations where they shouldn't have left since depuis, as they say in French, or as we can say in English, a long time ago. But you're afraid to lose your husband. You're afraid to lose your man because, you don't want your aunts to say, so how's that marriage going, or how's that relationship going with your boyfriend? Are you all married yet? And I think another situation of violence against women that many people don't talk about is its effects on children. Mm-hmm. Because it's been scientifically proven that many times...
Okay, before we get to that,
yes.
Before we get to violence and effects on children, Roland, it's important to get Maxine telling us that when we talk about psychological violence, it is also witnessed in the United States. But to an extent, we know that continent, the United States of America, is a country that is a continent that respects human rights. Yeah, but if they get to psychological violence, is it like maybe too much freedom?
In the United States, it's a far more free society, more developed than in Africa. So we cannot really compare the two of them. And it shows that violence is more rampant in the United States more than in Africa. But I think most of the issues that exposes women to violence is because maybe of unemployment and other issues. But I think African women are becoming more developed. They are becoming more sustainable. That's why they don't rely so much on their husbands. So that's why they are making them to raise their families really on their own.
But the fact that women don't rely on their husband, isn't making the husbands to feel like, these women, they are growing wings, they don't want to be submissive, isn't as an aspect of not making you being submissive to your husband. Amel,
it's not like that. The African man has it. The African man fails to understand what the Bible says, that you shall take care of your wife. If you have a wife who is working, is thanked to God, you have to take care of your wife and your family. It's the duty of the man. So if you have a wife who is working, it's thank God for you. A wife must not really work. Like with our Muslim counterparts, you take care of your wife and your children. So the point is that African men fail in their duties because they think maybe when the woman comes to the house, she needs to fetch firewood for you, warm water for you when you come back. It's a sabotage.
Do all the domestic chores.
In front of God, it's not good. You need to take care of your wife, your family, and to succeed in life, you make women happy. That's the secret.
Okay.
Madam Loveline, I just have to say something. I think that this is a myth. about women not working. I mean, since the grass fields of Africa, since I mean, for thousands of years, women have been working. I think it's just been this modern invention that has only been
work that doesn't, help the family economically.
No, excuse me. When you had women working on farms, they were contributing at least maybe 60% to the economic family because they were doing the vegetables.
Men look at that as normal work. As normal work. We are talking about income generative activities, like having a salary, these kind of things.
That concept of a woman not working has not been experienced for women for more than 50 years. This is a new concept, and it's already leaving because of economic pressures. That situation where only one person can work, the economy is pushing that out. It's the fact in America, it's the fact even in Cameroon, very few families can afford for one person to truly only work. So it was only between maybe 1960 to 1995, maybe, that you had this concept of this housewife that could sit safely while maybe her husband had a government job and they lived in the city and they lived this type of life.
Some men fail to understand that the title housewife is a profession.
But
like when you look at the marriage certificate, they say a housewife. It's a job.
In 1860, women have been working. Women have been working longer than we have not been working. That's my point. Is that this concept of us not working is something new. In 1860, women were working. In 1840, women were working and working just as hard as men, if not more.
Mais quand on parle du travail des femmes, c'est un travail codifié, encadré.
Yeah.
Oui, parce que toujours selon le rapport des études que nous avons mené, la plupart des femmes travaillent, mais c'est ça dans le domaine informel. On ne peut pas encadrer. Oui, on ne peut pas encadrer. Donc moi je pense qu'on parle de travail des femmes, c'est un travail qui leur donne accès à la sécurité sociale, ça veut dire une retraite garantie, ça leur donne droit au congé de maternité pour les femmes, donc c'est tout ça qu'on parle.
Okay, Amel, let me cut you, before we get to work, we're talking about violence. And we know that it is this lack of work or the inability of a woman to stand economically in the family that is leading to some of this violence. Well, let's get to Priska Ngaso, who did also report on the violence that the women are facing today, because the theme for 2018 is Press for Progress, and all that is because the thing that they want that there should be parity between the man and the woman when it comes to economic aspects. But from what they are experiencing on the field, say that one is 200 years away. Let's get Priska Ngaso with a report.
Violence against women is recognized as a global public health and human rights problem in need for urgent attention. Violence on women affects their health as well as their human rights. It is for this reason that the gender-based organization Martin Luther King Foundation, LUCMAF, in partnership with the International Female Lawyers Association, FIDA, organized a workshop that brought together leaders of community-based organizations and victims of violence to educate them on the need to speak out.
The objective of this seminar is to raise awareness on how we can end violence against women and girls, how we can make victims break the silence and bring perpetrators to book.
Participants at the end of the workshop are expected to have the capacity to advocate for women's rights by reporting cases of violence to competent authorities.
I'm a victim of domestic violence, so when I heard about the workshop, I decided to come. I was married for 3 years and I experienced domestic violence, physical domestic violence, physical beatings, and most of the times I ended up in a hospital. So I know what it feels, and I've experienced it. I know how it is. I know how you think. The first time you think like, oh, this is going to end. The second time you think like, oh, you apologize, you promise you things, I'm not going to do it again. You say, okay, yeah, he's not going to do it again. The family will talk to the person, and you keep giving him chances, but trust me, it really doesn't end. I'm doing it so that other women can learn.
No matter the reason behind violence against women, the action is to be discouraged because the impact of violence on women is felt by the entire society.
Thank you so much, Priska Ngaso, Roland. the impact and violence against women, it's felt by entire society.
Yeah, it is a shame that some men don't take it as a duty to take care of their wives. You know, when the Bible says you shall leave your father and your mother, you shall meet your wife, and you shall be with her. And if you cannot provide for your wife because of shame, you should not beat her up, because normally it's good for a man to leave the house. If you are angry, you cannot beat your wife up. It's really illegal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe before you start thinking, Amel, there's a problem. These men who, execute this violence on women, they have a problem. They need counseling. How much of counseling do you that are on the field, working to fight against violence, pressing for progress, doing so that the society should be aware of the impact of violence on women?
Bon, ce que je vais dire, Lovine, généralement, dans nos zones centre-sud, ce n'est pas très perceptible. Nous avons eu à travailler dans les régions de l'Est, dans les camps de réfugiés. C'est dans ces zones reculées que ces violences sont très perceptibles.
But even here in the central region, they say that a man, if a man gets married to a woman and the man doesn't beat the woman feels like my man doesn't.
Oui, non, ce que je vais dire, c'est que ici. Non, ce que je vais dire ici, c'est que les construits sociaux font que les gens n'ont pas le courage de dénoncer ces violences. Oui. Mais dans les régions un peu reculées, où on les a mis en confiance, certains viennent déjà s'ouvrir. Et nous avons été heurtés, confrontés à un problème lors d'une descente dans un camp de réfugiés. Oui, les hommes ne veulent pas parler. Les femmes ont eu le courage de parler. Mais pour quelque part, il a fallu que dans des centres d'écoute, qu'il y ait des femmes. Parce que les femmes n'arrivent pas à s'ouvrir à d'autres personnes. C'est pour ça qu'on voudrait que les femmes soient davantage impliquées dans tout ce qui se fait, que ce soit dans les zones conflictuelles ou comme en temps de paix. Que les femmes soient là, parce que les femmes ont du mal à aller vers les hommes pour s'ouvrir. Et dans ces centres d'écoute que nous avons mis sur pied, les hommes ne voulaient pas s'asseoir avec les femmes. Ça, c'est un problème social aussi qu'il fallait régler. Les hommes ne voulaient pas s'asseoir avec les femmes donc.
They didn't want to sit with the men, with the women.
Oui.
Why? It's like they look down on the women.
Non,
okay, it's because of culture, right?
Oui,
you see, so culture itself is a barrier, to the advancement of a woman in the society.
Et vous savez également que les hommes ont leur fierté. Et autre chose, les hommes ont leur fierté, ils ont leur orgueil. Allez dire, voilà ce que je vis dans mon foyer. C'est pas trop le dada des hommes, c'est les femmes qui sont souvent dans cette posture.
Open to start talking to break the silence.
Très peu d'hommes sont victimes, franchement. Très peu d'hommes, les statistiques que nous avons eues, très peu d'hommes sont victimes. La plupart des victimes, ce sont les femmes et les filles. Les femmes, les filles et les enfants. Très peu d'hommes sont victimes de violences, je peux dire conjugales ou familiales. C'est vraiment, c'est pas encore assez. Peut-être ça arrivera, mais pour le moment.
Okay, but then what used to happen? What used to cause this physical violence? What are the main causes of physical violence?
Les violences physiques, c'est quoi? C'est
why? Pourquoi?
La précarité financière.
Okay.
Oui. La précarité financière. Quand un homme ne parvient pas, par exemple, à résoudre les problèmes de sa femme, irrité, peut-être la façon.
If your husband is speaking, you can't speak.
So what you're saying is that there's some men, when they are able to take care of their wife now, they pass through a way of violence to provide for.
Donc c'est ça. Les
coutumes,
moi je pense que
les
coutumes ne demandent pas aux hommes de porter la main sur les femmes. Moi je pense pas. Les coutumes demandent que les hommes aient leur place d'homme, mais ne demandent pas de porter la main sur les femmes. Donc je voudrais qu'on essaie de clarifier ça. Donc généralement c'est ça. Il y a des fausses jalousies. Les réseaux sociaux sont arrivés. On connaît l'impact de tout ce qu'on a, le téléphone, dans les foyers. Il y a ça. Donc c'est autant de choses qui contribuent à conforter les violences dans les foyers.
So, have you Amel, Brenda, have you ever had a chance to ask a man what really happens? What pushes them to execute this violence?
Oui, nous avons mené une étude, comme je vous l'ai dit. Les hommes ont dit, quand je parle, la femme doit se taire.
Okay, that's exactly what Brenda said a while ago.
Exactly.
Oui, parce que l'homme ne supporte pas la contradiction dans la plupart des temps. Et c'est ça, c'est pour ça.
Why do you think that
some cases as a result of the man not being educated and maybe the woman is educated? So sometimes they have conflicting ideas.
Nous encourageons le dialogue. Parce qu'il n'y a que le dialogue pour briser certaines barrières. C'est le dialogue qui est la clé de beaucoup de choses.
Okay. So,
Education,
nothing?
to educate the men. That's the solution.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, maybe I would like to say what so far we've been doing in terms of how we promote men to be able to, that's how we communicate with men to be part of fighting against violence. So we have this concept of the Boys to Boys network, where it's connected to all the 10 regions, and the aim of that network is to empower young men from the base. That's we start with them, because if you don't start building them up as a child, you don't think that at the maturity, when the boy is mature, that's when you start telling the boy, you don't do this, you don't raise your hand against the woman and all that. But then we educate them when they are still at the base. Then we've had to work, that's a caravan in the...
Well, I'm not cutting you short. I just want to tell your televiewers that all your messages, we receive them. Please, so don't call us. We'll soon get to reading your messages. So there's no need for you to call. We don't receive calls here, but text messages. Keep sending them.
Okay, what I was saying is we had this caravan in Boya where we engaged bike men. You know that sometimes too, when things get difficult or when they have conflict with a lady, you find them, they beat a lady and all that. So we ensure that we engage them fully in the fight against, in the fight to end violence against women. And we don't only talk about violence in terms of physical violence. We talk in terms of female genital mutilation. Okay. That's violence. We talk of early and forced marriages. That's also violence. We talk of rape. It's also violence.
Okay.
So we don't focus mainly on the physical.
Okay, all this is doing field work in order to create awareness in our communities, to make people understand the impact of violence on women, on the women themselves and the society at large. Because you bear with me, the woman is the backbone of a family. We'll take this first message. Hi, it's Mares from Lokpom. Whatever a woman does with love is perfect. So men should be the ones to take care of women who are vulnerable. I want to say here that women are vulnerable probably because of the way men treat them.
Yeah, that's what I said. No matter how the women behave, the men, they need to stay on top. They need to take care of their wives. No matter what is happening. Yeah.
Well, I would like to say something about the new society that we have now. You know, now it's 2018, and I think that there's so many economic pressures. I think that there is less than maybe 20% of families who can afford for the woman not to financially contribute. I think there was a time in the society where a man would be able to take up the banner and only be the one to financially support his family from the beginning to end. When you just look at school fees, if you have 3 children, plus rent, other living expenses, transportation, it is extremely hard for a man to just take care of the family. So I think that we now have to ask ourselves as a society, what are our roles as a man and as a woman? Are your roles as a man more than just contributing financially? Are your roles as a woman more than just taking care of your family and rearing the children? Because now we live in a society that asks for more. So the men have to be more understanding and the women have to be more understanding as well, because there are a lot of men that just simply cannot foot the bill for all of your needs. I mean, I would like some feedback on this. How many of you all know families that can afford for only the man to 100% financially support his family? How many families is this the case?
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Thanks for the program. I'm really enjoying it so much. I wish you know some of the causes and impacts of violence against women in society and the way forward. It is by Elimelech from Chang.
I think you have a pertinent point, because as time is going by, things are changing.
Can we answer Elimelech first?
Okay.
It's a causes and impacts of violence.
Well, I think like she already pointed out, she talked about tradition and she talked about financial needs too.
And the impact is that the fact that the woman is at home, the woman is the person, like, you know, the heart of the family. When she is handicapped, the family is handicapped.
Quand une femme une conséquence des violences faites aux femmes, il y a par exemple, elle peut en mourir. elle peut en mourir. Ça peut être la première conséquence. Et si elle décède, par exemple, elle va laisser des orphelins qui seront demain des enfants de la rue. Donc c'est toute une chaîne. Ça c'est une seule conséquence. Donc quand la femme est paralysée, l'éducation des enfants, donc vraiment, les conséquences sont innombrables.
Okay. This other message says that women from the creation of the world and from scripture are a source of all forms of trouble. And at the same time, women are weak. Unfortunately, he didn't tell us his name.
Like our God. You see, if you want to live a better life, you take care of women. That's the secret. So we have to know that as times have changed, we have a lot of pressure. As she was saying, she had a point, because we don't really look at what to eat, the kind of food, the kind of dresses to wear. We need our children to go to better schools. So it comes with changes in the bills. So we need now a families where the woman now needs to come in to chip in a bit. But where the woman cannot chip in, the man should take that force. Because when you're getting married to a woman, you need to know her background, know her level of education, and you cannot get into marriage to think that when you get into marriage, the woman will provide later. When you know your woman hasn't gone to school, you can open for her maybe to send her to do maybe.
Isn't it maybe no matter of going to school? Is it possible? We have men who have not gone to school and have gotten married to educated
Some
women.
get married to think that with time things will change. They hope, and it's dangerous. Because so when you are getting into marriage, you need to prepare that you will support all what is coming. And you as the man, you need to suffer, because it's your duty to take care of your family.
Hello, dear panelists. Nice program, educative. I'm so happy as I'm watching the program.
I mean, the thing about it is that I also want to get back to this thing about this new place that society has called on us economically. As I said before, I'd be willing to bet anyone that less than 20% of Cameroonian families can afford for only the man to work, where this is some kind of fantasy world that we live in. So I think that it's important for societies to start to teach their men and their children that they have to financially contribute. Because if you raise a girl child today who is not raised to be financially independent, you have caused a curse on this young lady. Because right now people are getting married later and later. Let's say before, people were getting married at, let's say in the 50s, 60s, people were getting married by 18. By the time you finish university, if you went to university, you were already married. Now you may get married at 28. So what happens from the time you leave your parents' home to the time that you're 28 and now you're going to get married? You need to figure out how to financially support yourself when you're in university, or you're going to have a big issue, and you're going to find yourself vulnerable to older men, vulnerable to people that you have to work with, and you're going to find yourself in relationships that you shouldn't be in because you don't know how to find your own taxi money. Exactly. You are going to be in trouble, big trouble.
So the point is to train these girls.
Bonsoir à vous, j'aime l'émission.
Big trouble.
Good evening. My own opinion is that once a man raises his hands on a woman, there's nothing as apology. And once he does that and he apologizes once, you forgive him. So it's just once. The next time, don't even forgive him. So what do we do?
Exactly. There is a saying that goes thus: if somebody does something to you the first time, it is the person's fault. But if you allow that person to do that same thing to you the second time, it is your fault. So I don't see why a man, because if you find somebody that your purpose in life meets with that person's purpose, I don't see why that person will a day raise a hand on you.
Moi, je pense que le constat est déjà posé. Les violences sont là. Et moi, je pense que ce que nous faisons dans notre à UILF pour essayer de mitiger les violences, c'est nous encourageons le dialogue.
Amel, je pense que ceci, ça te concerne. Bonsoir à vous au studio. Très bonne initiative. Je suis un expert palable. J'ai une femme et que si je ne tape pas, elle n'est jamais contente. Elle me dit, et tu n'aimes pas? Ça, c'est yoga de la barrière.
Moi, je pense qu'on ne va pas prendre un cas particulier pour généraliser.
Non, mais je voulais savoir, parce que vous êtes sur le terrain.
Oui.
Et ce n'est pas la première fois, j'ai d'abord mentionné ça ici, là. Ce n'est pas la première fois qu'on entend dire ça. Qu'il y a les femmes
qui le disent.
Oui.
Mais moi, je pense que ce n'est pas des exemples à encourager. Il franchement, même si elles le disent, ça c'est pas des exemples à promouvoir. Que si tu ne me tapes pas, c'est parce que tu m'aimes pas. Non, on ne doit en aucun cas faire la promotion de la violence. Que ce soit un signe d'amour ou pas, la violence devait être...
Mais est-ce que la violence peut même être un signe d'amour? Jamais.
Oui, c'est
la culture, ce sont les stéréotypes.
C'est pour ça que je pense.
Parce que quelqu'un bizarrement, c'est ça qui n'est pas bon.
Non,
mais tu peux faire le geste amoureux. C'est ça.
Moi, le geste amoureux qui fait mal.
Il n'y a pas de façon de...
Ta femme peut faire un ticket, tu n'aimes pas, n'est-ce pas? Tu les pousses un peu, que laisse-moi tranquille, c'est comme ça.
Et moi, je pense que te pousser. Can I push you as well?
Pousse tranquillement avec l'amour.
C'est déjà la violence.
Oui, because some women, when you don't correct them, pushing the love will not stay. On ne parle pas de taper sur ta femme avec peut-être le machette.
I'm not called the name simply because I'm not really sure if it's true, but I learned in their tradition, as a woman, they feel that when the man gets them well beaten, it's a sign of love.
Moi, je pense, pour prendre ça comme une vérité d'évangile, il faudrait essayer de faire une enquête pour voir combien de femmes le disent avant d'affirmer que ça peut être un signe d'amour. Mais pour le moment,
même dans le foyer des pasteurs, les gens cachent des choses, n'est-ce pas? On ne peut pas taper sur la femme, n'est-ce pas? C'est pas bon, même dans la Bible. Mais pour toucher une femme avec amour, n'est-ce pas? Pour que même le voisin ne voit pas qu'il y a le blessure, tu vois? Le truc comme ça, tu fais un petit pouce comme ça, ouais, pardon, pourquoi tu fais comme ça? Tu vois, un petit correctif. Tu vois? Parce que les gens, ils parlent au micro, ils disent qu'ils ne tapent pas sur ta femme, ne fais comme ça, mais ils tapent les femmes, mais pas avec danger.
Je vais prendre un cas. Moi, je suis une femme.
Don't beat at your wife, maybe with sticks or maybe with a belt. You can correct her.
Quand une femme, je vais donner un exemple. Moi, je pense qu'il y a des actes qui font plus mal que la violence physique. Quand vous êtes une femme, vous faites votre repas, votre mari rentre, il ne mange pas. Moi, je pense qu'il n'y a pas pire que ça. Quand il ne vous parle pas, ça c'est une façon de vous sanctionner. Et moi, je pense que c'est des stratégies comme ça que les hommes gagneraient à utiliser.
Hi, Joel from Douala says that the truth is that women lack the ability to control their husbands.
I wanted to say something about the biblical references that you've made, because you made a few references to the Bible, and I think I've been a student of Bible study from a young age, so I know a little bit. Number one, I would say that I don't remember anywhere in the Bible where it was said that a man should hit his wife. Instead, I think Right, but it doesn't say that you should like hit your wife. Yes. And also, secondly, you talked about a man providing for his wife, and that being in the Bible. That is, but if you also look in the Bible and the examples of women in the Bible, all of them were extremely productive. When you talk about the virtuous woman of Proverbs 31, it talks about her waking up early in the morning, buying land, wearing purple. She was royal. She was about her business. She wasn't lazing around and not contributing to her family. You see, so I think that the Bible definitely talks about like balances, and a lot of women in the Bible were extremely productive with their time, as I think women of the modern day have no choice but to be, because I think that right now we live in a time where you don't have the option to just be a stay-at-home mother many times.
Hi, Joyce Teresh from Douala. Nowadays we don't base on tradition. If the both can't understand themselves, they will always be violent, and not all of the men can work, even women can work too. I think we were saying that here, that everybody needs to work. Whether you're a man or a woman, you need to work. The African tradition has a very great impact on the women's right. We had a family meeting, and when it was time to speak, I was given the floor instead of my eldest sister, whom I am fifth behind her, and I wasn't happy about it at all. I think women should have equal rights with men. This is Ojong Nkongo.
Je vais aller dans le sens de notre dernier celle qui a envoyé le message.
Yes.
Le Cameroun a participé lors du dernier examen périodique universel à Genève, où il s'est engagé à octroyer 30% de place aux femmes. Donc moi je pense que tout doit partir de là. Le Cameroun a pris un engagement, 30% de femmes. Quand nous regardons les statistiques, au Cameroun nous avons combien de ministres? On a 10 femmes ministres sur combien? On a 10 gouverneurs. On en a combien? Rien. Nous avons 54 préfets. Il y a combien de femmes préfets? 2. Donc moi je pense que tout doit partir de là. Tout doit partir de là.
There are stereotypes. So maybe that's why we should praise for progress. That's what the campaign speech this year. Briefly, please. Moving out of this.
In administration now, we need the manpower move around.
Non, moi je m'insurge contre ça.
Women work so well, but there are things that women cannot do, like administration. So that's why you see the government. No, Sina, women are very hardworking. They are very hardworking, you understand? But there are jobs that men will do better.
Non, je dis non contre ça. Moi, regardez, quand
Before we get to that, Amel, Roland, excuse me, Nyobezovic, à Douala, certaines personnes manifestent leur amour de plusieurs façons violentes, injures, critiques et la jalousie. Vraiment, I don't think that is love. But then we'll be moving out of the studio. We will be moving in a week's time. We'll be celebrating the International Women's Day. So, what advice do you give to the women?
Le conseil que Wilf donne aux femmes, c'est déjà nous encourageons le dialogue. Tout par le dialogue. C'est pour ça que le dialogue est l'un de nos programmes phares. Oui, le dialogue, nous encourageons le dialogue, nous encourageons la culture de la paix, la tolérance zéro, et ça fait partie de nos programmes phares.
So how do you expect the women to celebrate the Women's Day anyway?
Bon, déjà que les femmes s'approprient le thème. Qu'est-ce que c'est que les violences? Qu'elles comprennent que les violences ne sont pas que physiques. Qu'elles puissent identifier. C'est pour ça que des plages comme celle-ci, moi je les trouve d'une importance capitale, que les femmes puissent d'abord identifier, parce que dans le commun de mortels, violence est physique. Non, il n'y a pas que violence physique. Les violences, c'est quoi? Qu'elles puissent identifier toutes les violences et maintenant, entre elles, se donner des stratégies pour pouvoir les juguler. Donc, c'est ce que nous attendons des femmes. Et la seconde partie, c'est l'autonomisation. Que les femmes comprennent qu'elles doivent être autonomes. Ce n'est pas un droit de faire.
Thank you so much. You know, women gone to school or not, they live in the same paradise here on earth. Thank you so much. What is your last word, Brenda?
Okay, my last word is, I'll first of all disagree with what he said. Because the Minister of Women Empowerment is not a man. It's a woman that is doing that job. And she is leading.
Basic education.
The resident representative of UN Women, she is doing it. It is not a man. So what I would like to say is, there is no definition of what a woman can do. As long as you can do it, do it. And I will say that as we are celebrating the International Women's Day, my word to women and girls is celebrate your day, but celebrate it with wisdom. Don't go extra mile. Invest the money that you want to spend that day and do something productive. You can start a business. You don't need 50 million to start. 25 francs can still start. That's all I have to say. I'm happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. Bonsoir. Très bon débat. Comment faire pour rencontrer Maxima? You want to get to Maxime for what anyway? You are an entrepreneur. So probably he wants to get to you. So, your last word.
Yeah, I just wish women that as they're celebrating their National Women's Day, they should not forget to educate their children to stay out of violence, especially female and male children, so that together we can build a good country.
Thank you so much. Que faire si vous voulez sortir pour fuir les problèmes et elle te cravate? Et à ma soeur qui parle en français, j'ai aujourd'hui 2 semaines que je ne mange pas. Elle mange sans souci.
Elle est forte.
What is the last word?
Parce qu'elle a dit que tu ne manges pas pour montrer que tu es fâché.
That I think it's important for us not to compete with each other, men against women, because we're not in a competition. I think that we actually have a lot of qualities that can go along well with each other. And I would also like to say something to the only gentleman who's on a panel of all women, but actually had the nerve to say that women cannot do good administration. I would have to say that when you look at a woman, even in a family, she is the one that many times manages the budget. She manages all the children. She manages her husband. She manages the relationship with the church, the relationships within the society, which means which means that she can multitask. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we don't get the opportunity a lot of times to have those positions. But if you look at a woman, many times in a family, she is one of the greatest administrators you can ever have.
Exactly.
Happy Women's Day.
De femmes que d'hommes. Et 2018 pour le Cameroun, c'est une année charnière. Donc je nous invite, nous les femmes, à œuvrer au sein des familles, au sein de tous nos milieux professionnels pour que la paix soit notre partage.
Thank you so much. Bonsoir à toutes les femmes. Respectez vos maris et faites ce que les lois divines veulent et le reste suivra tout seul. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Happy Women's Day, of course, in advance. We know this week is an entire week of activities, creating awareness, trying to see how much water has gone on the bridge, celebrate with, prudence, and of course, the Women's Day is not to go wild, but of course to reflect on the very important thing that we, the women, we do in the society and the world at large. Stay tuned. Have a blessed weekend.